Well, hey everyone, my name is Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. I like to talk about all things movies, specifically Blu-rays, and welcome to a special edition of the Film Journey. This is week 2 of 2026, and this year has already been insane on many fronts, but in movie land and in TV land, I've been really kind of focused on a lot of the things that I want to tackle into the year. I have some loose plans, but of course, plans change, and my mind changes all the time in terms of what I want to watch. But I did get a bunch of movies and titles and TV series that I want to showcase to you over the last few months. I haven't been making kind of Blu-ray content for this, so a lot of this is on backlog, and so I'm excited to share and showcase a lot of the titles that I have here. Some that I have seen, a lot I have not, and I'm just gonna maybe lightly talk about those. But I'm excited for the year in terms of physical media, and I hope you are too. I hope you are watching some fun things. Let me know in the comment section down below what you've been picking up and what you've been watching. And then next week we will jump back into the queue of what we've been watching for the last 2 weeks, and it's been really fun. I've been watching a lot of Polish cinema, and so you can check out my letterbox if you're curious about that. But anyway, let's dive into some TV series, and then we'll jump into some movies. Let's go. All right, the first thing I want to talk about is something I covered a little bit last week. I've been watching this periodically, kind of in between a lot of things, and it's kind of nostalgia for me, and people either love or hate this show, and I completely understand it, and that is the show South Park. Here are all of the series and the specials here, or at least I don't have, I think, season 26 and 27, and they're currently on 28. It's a really long running show, but I have the first 5 seasons here, which I already have seen. I'm currently watching season 7, which is in this particular box set with Cartman on the front, 6 through 10, which are some of my favorite seasons right there. That's where a lot of my nostalgia comes from, the early 2000s and that time. Seasons 11 through 15, we have actually 2 discs here instead of the 1, so that's a little strange, but fun stuff there. We also have seasons 16 through 20, and there is that with Kyle on the front, and then last but not least, Butters on seasons 21 through 25. So yeah, I like South Park a lot, and I'm just having fun with this. And then I also got some specials here on Blu-ray. I know that there's been some crazy things, and I'm sure when I get to them, I'm gonna get to like the timeline of like real life of like how this came about. But a lot of these TV series was due to COVID or due to like licensing and different rights owners and all of that fun stuff. So anyway, but excited to watch this. This is the post-COVID special. We also have 2 special events on the streaming wars with Man Bear Pig on the front. We also have Butters looking at cred for South Park Not Suitable for Children. Looks like a Logan Paul dig there, or Jake Paul, I don't know, I don't pay attention to them. There's also joining the Pandaverse right here. And then finally we have End of Obesity. Looks like a lot of Ozempic look at stuff. But yeah, I love South Park. It's crass, it's not for everybody, and I completely understand that, but it's something that I really enjoy. And if I'm going to watch some really serious things like the Polish cinema that I aforementioned talked about, I want to kind of balance it out with some things that I just can laugh and really just not be in, crazy headspace, or at least an artistic headspace all the time. All right, so I have a few other series to showcase, and some that I've seen already before, and this first one is one I've already seen. It's one of my favorite British series I've ever seen from my past, but I'm glad I finally have it on DVD. That is the original IT Crowd right here. Chris O'Dowd, geez. We also have Richard Iota and Catherine Parkinson and Matt Berry in here. I just adore these people, and they're so funny, and this is just an amazing comedy from the UK that I highly recommend for anyone who hasn't seen this. I watched it all streaming a few years back, and I'm glad to finally have it on DVD, and seeing all the first few seasons. I think there's 4 seasons, or yeah, 4 seasons and a finale. So very, very excited about that, and to rewatch this bad boy along with some other debaucherous comedies like South Park. Next is a bear that we will talk about here a little bit later too with some movies, but let's talk about the original series from 1976, Paddington Bear. This is the UK edition, and it's actually a little bit taller than most Blu-rays, but I got this cool series. This is actually the pop-up edition. It has 56 episodes on it and 3 specials, but what's really cool about this is actually how you open it. Is you open this like this, and it actually becomes a 3D pop-up of Paddington and Paddington Station, meeting the Browns, of course, and this is just something I really love. Paddington is something that's really near and dear to my heart. Everyone knows, if you know me in real life, you know how much I love this, but here is the Blu-ray Blu-rays. It has, like I said, those 56 episodes and the 3 specials. So I'm excited to dive into like original Paddington from the 70s and kind of see what this is like. I know it's like a children's series, but I'm excited to kind of dive into the world that is what made this bear so special to everyone else. Another animated thing that is also for kids, but also for adults as well, is this thing called Peanuts right here. This is the Ultimate TV Special Collection. I got this from during Christmas, actually, from my parents, so I want to say a big shout out to them, who are also really big fans of Peanuts. Actually, Charles Schultz was a second cousin of mine years and years ago by marriage, so of course it's not really blood or anything like that, but Peanuts is a big deal to my family, and so this is a really big deal for them and also for me. So this is the 75th anniversary here. This is 40 TV specials, which is just insane. I love the lineup of here, and of course how this is all set up. It actually comes with this really cool TV guide right here, which has all the 40 specials, and each of these discs are different colors with all the different cast and crew of Peanuts. And so yeah, it'll be really fun to watch this as well. I can probably interwatch this between movies just like I do with South Park, and yeah, I'm gonna jump into Peanuts this year, and it's gonna be really, really fun. I might watch these during like holidays. I might try to do that. Haven't figured it out just yet, but yeah, I'm excited for Peanuts. All right, next is a show that I might give a little bit of a call out to some of my friends overseas that really, really love this show and are unapologetic about it, but I don't know if in the light of day if they talk about how much they love it. But I want to say big shout out to Sam, Elliot, and Chris, all really good friends of mine over there, and they love this series and they kind of got me hooked to it. I'm actually going to start watching the OC, which is something that I periodically like kind of tapped into a little bit growing up, but I didn't watch this growing up, even though I know there are a lot of references to so many different things that I'm sure that I love and the culture that happened in like the early 2000s. But excited for this. This is the DVD box set right here. Yeah, this is a series that a lot of people either love or don't even mess with, but this is just really cool to have something like this. Here's the original series of this family and all of the troubles that they have through teenage years. But I'm excited to watch this. I know there's some indie rock in here. There's some coffee shops, some music, some Criterion. I think there's a Criterion reference in here, which is insane. But yeah, I'm excited to watch the OC. This is going to be some really good popcorn TV for me, and I feel like I'm going to appreciate this more than a lot of people, at least my initial consternation about this. I think I'm going to appreciate it a lot. All right, so the next is actually a series that I want to also blame Sam and my buddy Davey over in Scotland for this. And since I just recently watched all of the Twilight Zone, I watched the original series. I also watched the 80s series, which I don't think I talked about that much, but I did that over the holidays. And I've just kind of been in a slow transition from horror to sci-fi, and I'm finally getting curious about sci-fi series. And the first one I have right here is from the 2000s, one that is very legendary for a lot of people. I know this is the second series from this. I believe the second series. I think the original came out in the 80s, but this is Battlestar Galactica, and I am really stoked about this. I've heard nothing but really incredible things about it, and so this is the entire series with the plan in here as well. I don't know much about it, but I've been talking to my friends about it a lot, and they are really stoked that I'm into this, and I'm gonna dive into something really sci-fi and really special. And this actually leads me to something that's gonna be really exciting, and I don't know where this is gonna eventually land, but I'm also jumping back in time and watching a little thing called Star Trek. So as I said, I have the original series of Star Trek. It made me think about, I was watching Twilight Zone. I just picked up Battlestar Galactica. We just started it just made sense tangentially to get involved in this. And I've heard mixed things from a lot of my friends in real life, but also I know my uncle is a huge Trekkie, or at least somebody who grew up with this and is like really obsessed with it. I told him about it, and he was really excited that I was diving into it. So I plan on watching the original series. I also plan on watching the animated series, which came out right after that. This is, I guess, the order to watch it. This, then this, and then, of course, the reason I jumped into a lot of this is it made all the 4Ks of the movies, right? And so I have them all right here. Let's first talk about this Steelbook, which I actually really, really love. The Star Trek, the motion picture, which is the first of the movies, and I just love the color array here, and just of course we have Leonard Nimoy, and we also have I'm just blanking on the name, William Shatner, as our captain here. I have never seen this movie. I've only seen the 2009 and on Star Trek movies, and I know those are very different. They have a lot more edge to Star Wars and are more in line with that, but very excited about this. I know this movie is definitely kind of boring, I think, compared to what's about to come out after this in the next movie. So yeah, I'm excited to still watch it, and I want to watch the whole series first before I dive into the movies to get more context and honestly just to care more about the characters. So very excited about this. Really, really love this Steelbook. The human adventure is just beginning. And of course, it has the Blu-ray and the 4K in there. Yeah, this is just a beautiful Steelbook. I'm not huge into Steelbooks, but my God, this is amazing. And let's just dive real quick into the other ones. The first one, the reason I actually got this was because this was on sale for like $11 on Amazon. I re-upgraded this to The Wrath of Khan, right? Star Trek 2. And so I really wanted to get this, and that kind of made me want to get everything else on it. So this is probably one of the most iconic sequels of all time. Still never have seen it, so there's that. Of course, I'm jumping into all of them. It also have Star Trek 3, which is The Search for Spock, right there. Nice slipcover. We also have Star Trek 4, The Undiscovered Country, right there with the theatrical and director's cut. We have Star Trek 5, The Final Frontier, right there. And finally, the Star Trek 6 of The Voyage Home. And I do plan on eventually watching New Generation and a lot of the Next Generation. And then also the series that came out in the 90s, and we'll see how far I go and how much I want it. I do want to watch the Next Generation just for Patrick Stewart's sake, and jump into a lot of that kind of stuff. But I'm excited to jump into Star Trek, and I'm going to be tackling this project with my buddies, and we might be doing some kind of series with it, so stay tuned for that. But I'm excited to kind of take my time with Star Trek and kind of jump into the world and see if it's for me. All right, so now that we got some TV out of the way, let's talk about some really big box sets that I'm really excited to dive into. A few of them are on just movies I've seen before, and a lot are not. And so the first one I want to talk about is the counterpiece to Possession that I also got, and I showcased that last time. But I also picked up Reanimator, the H.P. Lovecraft adaptation. This is just an amazing movie, and Second Sight just did a fantastic job with the design of this. Of course, I've seen this movie several times, but I have not seen this edition. But I know this edition competes with another edition that just came out recently from a company that I'm not super familiar with, but there are the art cards with it, of course, and let's see if I can show everything before I get in trouble if there's anything that I can't show, because there are definitely some things in this movie that are not safe for YouTube. But regardless, this is a really fun horror classic that I'm really excited about diving into. And yeah, I got this along with Possession, like I showed last time. So this was an amazing year for Second Sight back in 2025. And so really excited to jump back into this sci-fi horror classic that is Reanimator. Another Second Sight film that I finally recently picked up is this bad boy from Sean Baker, one that actually kind of made me fall in love with this director back when I watched it when this movie came out, and I was just enamored by it. It is The Florida Project, which this is just an amazing box set. I just really, really adore Second Sight for their work on box sets. They just do such a great job. This actually has a really impressive hardback book right here with a little rainbow on here. This blue is just something you can tell I really, really love it. And I'm just so excited to dive into this. And I just love how Second Sight just has so much passion for the things that they put out. And I love how they only put out a few things a month. And I think that's what makes it so special. There are actually some photos that they took of the real life people who were involved in the movie. A lot of these people were actually not like non-actors. And so Sean Baker always, there's Willem Dafoe right there. He always is there. He is Sean Baker, right there in the foreground or the background. And yeah, a lot of the people that he involves are always talking about people who are on the fringes of society, or at least the people that aren't talked about, the marginalized, maybe stories that we haven't heard before, and these situations that they live in day to day. And it's amazing how much of an eye he has for that. But here is the 4K and the Blu-ray with some special features on it as well. There are the 3 discs, and then there is the the apartments that they live near. They live so close to Disney World, but they are so far from Disney World. It's insane. I feel like that's kind of the concept of this movie, but excited to rewatch this. I've only seen it, I think, the one time back in theaters, so it's exciting to watch again, especially with Sean Baker just being an amazing director and continuing to make good work, just like Second Sight. All right, so let's now switch over to Arrow Video, to something that everyone got, and I'm really happy I got this. This is actually something I got from Christmas, and this is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles box set that a lot of people have already talked about, the 4K edition of the 90s movies. I love these movies. They're very, very nostalgic for me. This actually has a bunch of really cool special features on it, and I think it has really cool knickknacks in here that I haven't really dived into, but I really love that they have this... let's see this set before I break it, break the slipcover. I really love the pizza menu right here with the special features, and also talking about the making of and all the people who were involved. Also has an original poster, which I do plan on putting up with a double-sided thing, which I want to see what that poster looks like. Oh, that poster looks sick. The original poster art, one of the original poster art, the concept from the comic book series, of course, and then there is the original poster art, which is probably the one I'd put up. But man, I love these movies so much. Especially the first one is obviously the better one, the best one. I do love Secret of the Ooze, and then I have a soft spot for 3. I know it's not great, but I love Turtles in Time. But yeah, there are disc 1, which I think has trading cards in it. Yeah, it has trading cards in it, which is crazy, and stickers. Holy moly! There are stickers of the Turtles. There are different pictures of the Turtles with cards. That's just really cool. Cool collector memorabilia. As everyone knows, everyone bought toys of these things back when these came out. Let's see what's in here. More stuff, more stickers. There's Shredder and Splinter right there. Another poster, actually. Bebop and Rocksteady. Well, they're not Bebop and Rocksteady. I can't remember their names in this one, but it's not that. Then there's buy 7 pizzas, get an 8th free pizza card from Roy's at Greenwich Village. That's that. And then let's look at the third film right here, and let's look at what this has inside. More cards, and also another poster. It also has Casey Jones and April O'Neil, of course, who are in a lot of these movies. This is just so cool. This is just such an awesome set, and I'm really glad that Arrow put it out. This is just something that is very nostalgic for me, and also just, these are fun movies, and these are the movies that, they aren't the Criterion types, but they're definitely the movies that I think a lot of people have a lot of nostalgia for, especially a lot of collectors, because a lot of us grew up with these movies, and a lot of us, you know, just fell in love with, I guess, just action and kung fu and martial arts and toys and all of that collectible stuff. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a culmination of that, and this is an incredible release. I can't wait to jump into this and look at the 4K and see how special these movies really are. All right, so next we're going to jump over to Radiance Films, and there's actually a couple of box sets that I got that I'm really happy about. This is also one I got for Christmas. I don't have the Obi strip that I can show you, but it is the Dai Gothic Volume 2 set. I really, really loved the original set here from Radiance, but this has the Ghost of Kasane Swamp, the Haunted Castle, and Demon of Mount Oe. And yeah, this is just I love how minimalistic this box set is and how incredible it is. There's this really awesome, amazing booklet right here with all of the extra features in here and a lot of different essays, but there are the films themselves right there. And then there's also the backside original poster art. I think these are reversible too. There's the Haunted Castle, and then there is finally the Demon of the Mount O. And so really, really excited about this series, and these are all directed by Tanaka and Yasuda. So yeah, just excited to kind of dive into these Japanese ghost stories. I'm a huge fan of Japanese filmmaking and also Japanese horror stories, and so these sets are just incredible because I feel like a lot of J-horror that came out in the late 90s and early 2000s came out about, you know, a lot of this has a lot of these inspirations from these movies, and so it's just really exciting to dive into this. So I know I'll probably watch this probably more toward the latter part of the year, but who knows, so I might watch them sooner. Dai Gothic, Radiance, keep putting out these sets. These are amazing. All right, so next is one that I'm incredibly stoked about. and one that a lot of my friends have actually talked about and are a lot of people's end of year lists. This is like one of the biggest box sets of the year. Radiance put out Radical Japan right here. This actually has a bunch of films right here, all films by Nakasa Oshima right here. And these are films from 1961 to 1995. In fact, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 total films in here right there. We have The Catch, A Yonbugi's Diary, Death by Hanging, Diary of Shinjuku Thief. We have Boy, The Man Who Left His Will on Film, The Ceremony, Dear Summer Sister, and then finally 100 Years of Japanese Cinema. And there is the box set right there. I just love the design of this whole entire thing. An immense and honestly heavy thing here. I don't think I can show you everything because I think there's some nudity in here, but there is the booklet with the director and all the different things on here. I can't show you that because there's some nudity I saw, but besides that, here are just some of the films, or at least the background of that right there with that. But a lot of these discs have just a bunch of archival extra features, and then just a lot of things here. But it's just really cool to see the fact that a lot of these movies are getting a collection. And I know that I think this director put out something that's in the Criterion collection that is rather extreme, and I'm excited to check that out too. I think it's in the realm of the senses. I've heard mixed things about it, but I know that a lot of sexuality is involved in that particular film. But I'm excited to kind of dive into the films of this man and kind of see his vision unfold into the cinema that would come out a little bit later after the fact, and also just the context of when he made this in mostly the 60s and early 70s. Yeah, Radical Japan, I'm really, really excited about. All right, so now let's just jump right into a lot of the individual titles here. I'm just going to be rather quick about it because I know there's a lot to showcase. But the first one I actually just picked up this morning at Walmart when I got my groceries, but that is The Smashing Machine on Blu-ray. This is the latest from the A24 line. I'm excited about this. I'm not necessarily that excited about The Rock. I've not really ever been a big fan of him, but I am a big fan of Benny Safdie, and so I'm excited to kind of see where he takes this real-life character that is based on this UFC fighter, Mark Kerr. And so I'm definitely excited about jumping into this. And also, I just really love collecting this line. This line of A24 is just special. So yeah, excited about this. Has anyone seen this movie? I'm kind of curious what your thoughts on it are. All right, so these next 5 titles, there's actually 6. I just don't have the 6th one because it was not coming till February, are from the buy 3 for $33 on Amazon that are the 4Ks right now. So I actually just recently picked these up, and 3 of them I've actually seen, 2 of them I have not, and one actually I just recently watched, so I might as well showcase that. I just talked about this movie, The Big Lebowski. I just talked about how I wanted this on 4K, and it was for $11. So definitely excited to have that again. One of my favorite Coen Brother films. Another one that I really wanted to get an upgrade to is a film that I think might be my favorite Zack Snyder movie, and that is The Watchmen, the Ultimate Cut. I adore this movie, and I think this is a really, really great adaptation from the Alan Moore book, which honestly, that book is incredible too, but really excited to have The Watchmen on 4K. Now, the other films that I have right here is one from last year, The Wolf Man, which I'll talk more about next week probably. I just recently watched this, and I have thoughts on it, but this film gets a lot of hate, and I don't understand, because this movie was really good. So excited about that. Director of The Invisible Man, which was really great a few years ago. We also have The Matrix Resurrections, which is the 4th Matrix film, which I never got around to watching. So definitely excited about this, and there's a lot of extra features on here with the Wachowskis. And just, yeah, excited to dive into this. I actually have the 4K trilogy to watch, so I'll probably watch all of those, and then this to kind of double with that. And then the last film is one that I also missed in theaters, but I'm so glad I have it for $11, and that is Superman right here, which has this amazing lenticular case right here with Clark Kent, and we have Superman, of course. Yeah, I've heard really fantastic things about this movie. I just haven't seen it yet, because Superman is not necessarily my favorite superhero of all time. He's kind of boring to me, not gonna lie. But I'm excited to see this adaptation and see where this goes. Yeah, I've heard really, really good things about it. And then my 6th movie, which I'll show you eventually, I'll just say is F1. which I'm excited to watch as well. I also missed that in theaters. All right, so next let's talk about some Steelbooks. One that actually a lot of people are buying right now, and this is because of the cover, of course. I haven't opened it yet because I will eventually watch this, but I just recently watched his last film, One Battle After Another. But let's talk about his first movie, Boogie Nights. Holy moly, what a hot cover right here. This slipcover is quite tantalizing for a lot of people, but this movie's incredible. Marky Mark, who's not a good person in real life, is incredible in this right here, though, and has an incredible cast here. Julianne Moore, Burt Reynolds, Don Cheadle, John C. Reilly, William H. Macy, Heather Graham, Nicole Parker, and Philip Seymour Hoffman. What more do you want? I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson just makes incredible movies, and so happy to have that. This is actually one that I've been wanting to get for a long time, but I just never pulled the trigger on the really expensive editions of this. But actually, I was able to get this used on a marketplace that I follow. And I got the Steelbook of Jacob's Ladder right here, which has this really cool lenticular case. I think it's because it was damaged or something. Yeah, there's like this little slight damage in here, which to me, that doesn't matter because I don't really care. But really cool 3D effects for this movie that I've always wanted to watch. I've heard really great supernatural psychological thriller of sorts, so I'm excited to watch Jacob's Ladder for the first time. This is a movie I'm really invested in, and I probably will watch it more in October, but we'll see. All right, so the next film is an upgrade from a film that I really love, that I have a special place and I have a lot of memories with, although it's not perfect, and there's definitely some problematic things in here. Another Wachowski film, and that is Cloud Atlas right here. Tom Tykwer and the Wachowskis did this, and man, I adore this movie, and it has actually a bunch of new special features on here. This Shout Select edition is impressive, honestly. There's like 3 discs on here with all of this stuff, and with the cast and crew, and just kind of looking back at this project. And it was definitely a very particular film with space and time. I love the score. It's a very funny film, also just very high fantasy, a lot of sci-fi, just a lot of really cool concepts. And I love the book as well, and I'm excited to finally watch this again on 4K. All right, so let's stick with Shout Factory, but let's now go to Screen Factory, some 4K upgrades here, and a couple of Blu-rays I got here. The first one is the film The Company of Wolves, which I have not seen before, but I've heard really, really fantastic things. This really dark, I guess late 80s, right? Is this late 80s, right, when this came out? 84, so it's actually mid-80s. Dark fantasy film, this fairy tale, grim fairy tale of types. I don't really know much about it, but I'm very, very excited about this. I probably will put this one in very, very shortly. And then speaking of werewolves, I might as well just stick with this particular thing. I've been on a werewolf kick for some weird reason, but I recently got the upgrade of Silver Bullet on 4K, which is one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations. I actually watched this movie for the first time a few years back. I had the Umbrella edition, but I wanted to upgrade this to 4K. I actually really love this movie. I think it's highly underrated. A lot of people don't talk about it enough. It's very, very good. Next is a fun werewolf movie. A lot of werewolf movies, I didn't realize. And that is Teen Wolf, of course. This is just the Blu-ray collector's edition. I know there was a big sale, I think, on Amazon, and I picked this up for a really, really good deal. But of course, we have Michael J. Fox in this iconic role of his, and so I'm excited for this, and we'll talk more about Teen Wolf here in a second with another film. We also have this other film that I have that I wanted to watch, but this is this really weird movie from the late 90s, 1999. It has Idle Hands, which just I know is not going to be a good movie, but I know it's going to be a really fun time. And I remember seeing clips from this, and I really love Seth Green and a lot of the other people involved in this movie. Of course, we also have Jessica Alba in here, Eldon Hinson, and a few others. But yeah, Idle Hands looks like a lot of fun. It looks really stupid, but I love all of that stuff. All right, so let's jump back to Radiance Films to a few titles. I've actually only seen one of these titles, and I actually kind of forgot that I had this title. And I actually, when I saw it, I was like, wait a minute, that's in that Severin All the Haunts Be Ours Volume 2 set. But I don't care, because this has different special features, and also it's just a really fantastic film. So I'm kind of happy to double dip, and I'm not mad about it at all. That film is Latan right here. This is from 1982, and this is just a really, really crazy film, The City of Green Ghosts. really love the aesthetics of this movie. The atmosphere is fantastic, and this town, I guess the closest that I could kind of describe it is like The Wicker Man in ways. Definitely a folk horror film, but a lot of really cool special features on here with some visual essays and whatnot. But excited to have this. I actually got this from a Radiance sale near the end of 2025. The next film I have is directed by Patrick Tam, and this is spy number 111, just 111. And this is in Cantonese from 1982. It is Nomad right here. This is one that I'm excited to jump into. We don't really know much about it, but very, very similar vibes to the Florida Project in a way, but probably way different. Next is a film from Hal Aspie, who I am a huge fan of his films, and I've never seen this one, but that is The Landlord right here. This is the standard edition from 1970. Very excited about this. It has quite a bit of people in here. Beau Bridges, Lee Grant, Diana Sands, and Pearl Bailey are the cast in here, and just excited to kind of see a 1970s film from Hal Ashby, because that director is incredible. And then I have a couple of limited edition films. One from Ty Cotto, which I'm excited about, was a recommendation from Chris. I want to shout out to him. 18 Years in Prison. Really excited about this one. It looks like a Yakuza film from 1967. So excited about that. And then the last film here is the one that I've actually really wanted to watch for the longest time, because I've seen it referenced in a lot of things, but it's a 1974 Italian film. I'm going to try to pronounce it correctly. Alon Sanfon, right here, directed by Paolo and Vittorio Tavani. And yeah, I've heard this is just an epic film from this time period, so I'm really excited about this and to jump into this. Radiance keeps making incredible work, and I'm just so happy to have those box sets and these individual titles. All right, so next we're going to go over to Kino Cult, and I actually recently have been watching a lot of these TV movies from Dan Curtis, and I just recently picked up Dead of Night as well. I've been in a big, kick for Twilight Zone and Tales from the Crypt, so of course this is something I wanted to get as well. I'll probably wait till Halloween to watch this, but really fun stuff. These TV movies are kind of special to me, and even though they're really cheap and whatnot, they're really special and fun and unique, and so I'm super excited to jump into this one. And I recently just watched Kurosawa. I talked about it recently a little bit, and I wanted to pick this one up, and I didn't realize that Imprint put it out, but it is the Russian film from Akira Kurosawa, Dersu Azula. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but this is an epic from that time period. This is 2 hours and 22 minutes from 1975. I think this is when Kurosawa was kind of outcast from the Japanese cinema, so he was kind of given projects from various France, Russia, etc., to do these different epics. And so really excited about this one. Probably will watch this one sooner than later, because Kurosawa has been on my mind, of course, because I just recently went down that line of BFI 4Ks, and I loved it. All right, next is a slasher from Lucio Fulci, who I'm starting to become a really big fan of. This is actually from Shameless Entertainment. I actually was almost pick this up actually while I was over in the UK a couple years back, but I finally picked it up, and that is the New York Ripper. And this really cool yellow case. I don't think I can show you too much, because there's definitely some nudity in there. I've heard this movie is pretty mean, but I love Lucio Fulci films, so not for the faint of heart, but I'm excited to jump into this one. Next was actually a recommendation. I can't remember who said it, so if it was you, please comment down below. But this is The Wolf House. I actually got this for Christmas. I've had it on my film, or like my queue for a long, long time. And there's actually a few things, a lot of kind of German fairy tales that are like this docu-horror fairy surrealist tale from Chile's darkest periods. So yeah, I'm really curious about this movie. I've heard really interesting things about it, and also other short films in here. But yeah, has anyone seen this? I'm kind of curious what your thoughts on it are. All right, so let's end this section with some studio titles. The first one is one that just came out on 4K for the 40th anniversary of, which I've never seen, which is kind of crazy, but it is a John Cusack film, Better Off Dead. Don't really know much about it. I've seen scenes from this movie before, but I do like John Cusack, especially around this time period. As insufferable as he is in a lot of things, but I've heard this is really fun, so I'm excited to jump into this one and dive into it probably sometime soon on some Sunday afternoon. All right, so next is a film that I just, based on the cast alone, was just intrigued by, and that is Good Fortune right here that just came out last year. It's got Keanu Reeves, Aziz Ansari, who's, and then Seth Rogen, who I do enjoy quite a bit. But this looks like a really fun premise where we have Keanu Reeves as an angel, kind of guiding these guys through things. And so this looks really funny and really stupid, and looks like a really fun time from 2025. All right, so next is a collection of Sean Connery films, you know, James Bond, perhaps. I got this on sale a few months back, and it was a really good deal. And so I got the first, I think, 6 films that he was in. I know there's, I think, 7 Sean Connery films that are he was in, but there's only 6 here. We have Goldfinger. I know we have Dr. No. We have From Russia with Love, Thunderball, You Only Live Twice, and Diamonds Are Forever. So there are these. There are this, like, honestly, the Japanese edition of this, which is really sick. I think it kind of combines all the different posters here. But this is just classic Bond on 4K, and kind of just excited about this. I've heard really good things about these transfers, so just excited to jump into this. I grew up with James Bond. I used to have the DVD box sets. And also the VHSs. So I've literally had them on almost all formats. So from VHS to DVD to Blu-ray to now 4K. So I'm definitely excited to jump into these. And we're back to Paddington. I told you I wasn't done with him, that little bear that I really adore. I actually also, along with the TV series, got the 4K collection from the UK. I think this is the first time that the original film was on 4K, which is awesome. But it has the second Paddington, Paddington 2, which is, to me, the best Paddington. And there's also Paddington in Peru, the latest Paddington film, which I really enjoyed, but it's definitely pales in comparison to the first 2 films. But these are so pure. This is something I would watch with everybody involved in your family, like young or old. You will love these movies. I cannot bless these movies enough, but there are the films themselves. There is the box, of course, and unfortunately has that PG right there, but who cares? I know some people do care about that, but for me, these movies transcend cinema. And last but certainly not least is a speed round from Hamilton Books. I actually put in a $100 order for 23 titles, which is insane. A lot of these I have not seen, but I'm just curious about, and they're a really good price, so of course I jumped on it. But yeah, I'm going to kind of not really have much to talk about on them, but the first one is a PBS little series, it looks like, The Widower, right here, who I recently just dealt with Reese Shearsmith in a lot of his projects, so that was what the curious part here was for me. So I'm excited for this series to see what this is like. Next, we have an Arrow Video film right here, the one that I've wanted to get for a while, but it was like $5, so why not? The Deeper You Dig, which is a film that came out a few years ago, back in 2019. Don't really know much about this one, but excited for it. One that's been on my Amazon wish list for a long time, but I finally found it in real life, and that is Cheap Thrills with David Koechner, Pat Healy, Sarah Paxton, and Ethan Embry. This looks like a really crazy film from the Alamo Drafthouse. The Drafthouse films I did enjoy with that line when it existed. Next is a film that has Bill Nighy in it and Annette Bening, and that is Hope Gap. So I'm excited for this one. I don't really know much about it, but it looks like an incredible drama and with an incredible kind of ensemble cast, and of course the backdrop that is the UK. Next we have Troll Hunter, which is one that I've been wanting to watch for a long time. I've never seen this movie. I know it's iconic for a lot of people, but it's from Magnet. It's kind of was just one of these dumb, stupid, horror films that has really bad special effects. But I've also heard this is just an incredible found footage film. It's just a really fun one. Next is a movie. Many people don't know this, but I lived in China for 6 months, roughly 5 to 6 months, and I read this particular story while I was over there, and so I finally picked it up, the comedic version of it, and that is Journey to the West right here, directed by Stephen Chow, who directed Kung Fu Hustle, which I'm a huge fan of. I've not seen this movie, so I'm excited about this, but it's probably about Wukong and all of the different people involved with this this incredible and stupid movie. Next is a Vestron Video film, one that I've been keeping an eye on, but it's got Jim Carrey, Jeff Goldblum, and Damon Wayans in it, along with, of course, Gina Davis, and that is Earth Girls Are Easy. This is a really funny sci-fi movie from the 80s. I think I did watch it back in the day, in the Benya rental days, but I don't remember it very well, but good price on this one. Excited to watch that. Told you I wasn't done with Teen Wolf, and here we are with Teen Wolf 2, which I've heard is really not that good. but I don't care. It's like $3, so got that. So I have Teen Wolf and Teen Wolf 2. Next is a film that looked really interesting just based on the actor Colin Farrell and Rupert Everett in it, and that is Another Country. Excited about this one. This looks kind of like just one of those period pieces, or at least one of those, not period pieces, but yeah, I guess it came out in this movie came out, or at least is based in 1932. So it's really, really exciting about this, and it has a fairly interesting premise as well. Then we have a documentary that I wanted to watch a few years ago, I Am Not Your Negro, which I'm actually surprised that I have the slipcover of, which is really cool right there. I'm excited for that. This dumb comedy that looks really, really fun. This is Misbehavior right here. This looks like a British comedy right here with a bunch of different people. Keira Knightley, Jessie Buckley, Keely Hawes, Reese Ifans, a lot of people. This looks really stupid, but really fun as well. Don't really know much about it. Next is a movie I wanted to watch when it came out, but I just missed it. I was going to watch it at my local independent cinema, but I finally picked up Blue Bayou, which I've heard is really good. Another, if I'm in a Florida Project mood, I feel like this is hitting that. Next is a movie I have seen before, and I'm just happy to have on Blu-ray, and that is The Addams Family Values right here. This is the second film on the Addams Family's, like this particular adaptation of Addams Family. And yeah, this is just a really fun film. Excited to watch that again. Next is another BBC series, and this one is from Kenneth Branagh, and that is Wallander. So there's actually 3 films in here: Faceless Killers, The Man Who Smiled, and The Fifth Woman. I like Kenneth Branagh, and I like the things he's done, so excited for this, and I don't really know much about it, so got that for like $3, so that was incredible. These next 4 titles are actually the first 4 series in this one, and then there's Ripper Street, about Jack the Ripper. Of course, there is the first 4 right there. 2 of them have slipcovers, 2 of them don't, but whatever. But anyway, I'm excited about this one. Don't know much about it, but I've seen good high marks on it, and I want to add more series to my stuff, right? So might as well jump into that. And then we have a film right here that is a French film right here that I believe I have the French edition of, which is cool, which is probably why it was cheap. But Café de Flore right there. Don't know much about it, but it's all in French, and looks like just this really cool film from 2011. And yeah, just excited about this one. Has anyone seen this one? I'm excited to hear your thoughts. And the next one is a film I was pretty much enamored by Philip Seymour Hoffman being in, and that is A Most Wanted Man. Didn't watch this when it came out, but it's got Robin Wright, Willem Dafoe, and Rachel McAdams in it, so all-star cast. Definitely wanted to watch that drama. A movie I watched on Netflix that I'm excited to have a physical media release, but I think I have the French-Canadian one because it has both English and French, and that is Woman of the Hour, which I thought was an incredible film with Anna Kendrick, who directed it. And yeah, this movie was really good. So if you've not seen this one, go watch it on Netflix, or pick it up on Hamilton for like $3 or $4. It's worth it. And last but certainly not least, one thing that I wanted to watch for the longest time that's been on my queue list probably for 8 years now, and that is In Order of Disappearance, which I'm excited to have the slipcover of, which I didn't know I was going to have. But Scott Stellan Skarsgård, it's this really cool, I guess, is it Swedish? Yeah, I think it's Norwegian, either Swedish or Norwegian, gang war type of film. I haven't seen it yet, but it's Stellan Skarsgård's incredible and impressive, and I've heard nothing but good things about this. And it's also another Magnet film. With that being said, those are all the things that I picked up. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you're sticking around all the way to the end. I'm losing my voice. I have a lot of things to watch this year, and I'm excited for all of the TV endeavors, Star Trek, South Park, all these movies, Paddington, whatever it is. I'm just excited to dive into physical media and also just explore more of these things as life progresses. And hopefully you're safe, you're okay. Hopefully you're watching these things yourself, and also I hope you're watching as many fun things as you can while the world kind of is not in a good place. But anyway, I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you all next week when we talk more about the things that I've been watching. And I want to say thank you so much for checking this one out. Comment, share, hit the notification bell, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.